traders, Cosavini coming to you from theclosingprint.com, November 21st, 2021. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices which closed near all-time highs. Breath is fading, while the S&P 500 shows negative divergence. Stocks ended the week mixed, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average weakening, while the Nasdaq 100 hit new record highs. That said, we do see most of our indicators are bearish, 5 are neutral, 13 are bearish, and only 2 are bullish going into this week. So I will proceed with a bit of caution. And as a side note, the stochastic indicator found quite a few names that were from the bond group. So that's telling us that institutions are parking money in safety related assets, at least for the short term. Starting off with the S&P 500, we have price action near all-time highs, pinned near that 4,700, 4,725 major gamma level, with RSI diverging a bit, starting to back off of the 70 level, potentially leading to some downside. MACD is drifting a bit lower as well. Not a major concern at the moment, but it could be indicating short-term weakness and maybe a pullback over the next week. As the New York Stock Exchange also shows us, with the advanced declining issues favoring declining, as we dropped off last week, showing breadth is fading and fewer stocks are participating. As previously stated, we had the major gamma level where price action pinned last week with respect to the S&P 500. We also looked at the bond stock ratio, which is telling us that equities are still favored over bonds. However, there's an extraordinary erratic handling of large transfers of risk recently that is being discounted by equity market participants. There was an article on Bloomberg that talked a bit about that. Long as we stay above the volatility trigger, the markets will most likely be fine. After OPEX, of course, we know that the market likely enters a period of non-strength. The support of Vanna and charm flows associated with decaying hedges that came off on Friday, as a large portion, more than 41% of the S&P 500 options positions and associated gamma hedging last week. Regardless, post-OPEX realized volatility tends to increase after a major OPEX. So we're looking for volatility to pick up this week. As we come into the week, we saw lots of bonds being picked up by institutions. They usually do that when they want to park money. The Barclays Aggregate Bond Fund here moving back above the 200-day. Stochastics oversold and turning higher along with MACD. The Vanguard Long-Term Bond ETF, same thing. Lots of volume on Friday. MACD turning, stochastics rising. Vanguard Total Bond ETF. Note stochastics rising, volume picking up. Institutions are parking money. The government iShares Core U.S. Treasury Bond ETF also showing the same thing, showing up on the stochastic scan, which looks for stocks or assets where stochastic is below 20, has crossed back up, signaling a potential bounce. As we saw with many of these bond funds showing up, this is the iShares Long-Term Corporate Bond Fund. Also with the stochastic turn, volume coming in, institutions definitely appear to be forecasting a potential pullback in equities. Sectors appear to be in a state of rotation. We can see that energy, financials pulled back last week, but there was strength that picked up in healthcare, potentially in transports and real estate, with those moving sideways to slightly higher. We're looking for sectors to give us a clue as to where we might see any kind of strength this week. European ETFs and other international ETFs did back off as well. So there's some weakness due to strength in the dollar that we'll have to focus on this week. Looking at those world indices and ETFs, you can see there's only a few that are green on the week. The Nikkei, the Chinese FXI, while the remainder continue to show weakness going into this Black Friday. We'll be off Thursday to celebrate Thanksgiving. I hope everyone has a great week. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com with your weekend video newsletter. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so be sure to check that out. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the morning. Take care. Ciao.